So, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the really fascinating hidden world of digital financial crime. We're going to see exactly how investigators manage to trace stolen money through what is, honestly, a ridiculously complex online maze. Have you ever seen one of those online ads that's just a little too good to be true? And you think to yourself, if someone actually falls for this, where does the money go? How does it just seem to poof, disappear into the internet without a trace? Well, it's not magic, that's for sure. What it is a journey through a hidden financial network, one that's deliberately built to be confusing and almost impossible to follow. So, for this explainer, let's put on our detective hats. We're going to follow that trail together.
Okay, first things first, we need to understand the crime scene. So we're kicking off with the Digital Vanishing Act to really get a handle on the common types of fraud that get these huge investigations started in the first place.
It all starts with something that probably looks pretty familiar to you. You've got your online shopping scams, those fake investment opportunities, phony job offers, or even fraudulent loan apps. These are the traps. A victim sends their money, and boom, the digital chase begins in a matter of seconds. So, if you're going to solve the crime, you first have to understand the criminal's toolkit, right? It only makes sense. So now we're cracking the code, looking at the actual building blocks that fraudsters use to make all that money disappear. And this right here is the absolute key to the whole operation, the trail account. Just think of it like a temporary holding pen for stolen cash. Its one and only job is to get the money and then immediately pass it along, creating what they hope is a total dead end for anyone trying to follow. And here is the very first layer of the deception. These aren't the criminals' personal bank accounts. No way. They're almost always opened using fake IDs or completely stolen identities. So that name on the account, it's probably just another victim in this whole mess. Or it might not even belong to a real person at all. Okay, so they've got these throwaway accounts, but, a single account is still pretty easy to trace, right? So how do they actually make the money vanish into that huge, complicated web we were talking about? They do it with a technique called layering. And this is basically how it works. The stolen money hits that very first trail account, and then, bam, it's instantly split up and shot out to maybe 5, 10, maybe even 20 other trail accounts. Then, each of those accounts can do the exact same thing. The whole point is to turn one single path into this massive, tangled mess, all to buy the criminals a little bit of time. So now we know the playbook for the bad guys. How in the world do investigators fight back against that? Well, in this next part, following the breadcrumbs, we'll break down the methodical, step-by-step process they use to untangle that very messy web. It looks like total chaos, but investigators, they have a clear playbook. It all starts with the initial piece of evidence from the victim. From there, they issue legal notices to the banks, they analyze that first account, and then they just methodically trace every single layer until they can finally link all that activity back to the real person behind it. And believe it or not, the whole thing kicks off with something as simple as this, a bank statement. An investigator sees that first transaction, $5,000 sent from the victim to account number 987654321. That's it. That is the first breadcrumb. That's their entry point into the maze. So once they have that account number, the police can go to the bank with legal notices. And that basically forces the bank to open up their files and hand over all those know your customer details they have on file. We're talking ID documents, addresses, phone numbers. This is the first real step in trying to put a face to a digital ghost. But I gotta tell you, this process is anything but easy. The digital world has thrown up a whole new set of walls and obstacles. So let's talk about the very real, modern challenges of navigating the digital maze. This really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Back in the day, investigations were all about physical paper trails. They were slow, sure, but they were tangible. You could hold them. Now it's about instant transactions happening all over the globe, incredibly complex data logs, and criminals hiding behind layers and layers of digital anonymity. The game has totally changed. And these are the biggest hurdles they face. The speed is just mind-blowing. Money can bounce between 5 accounts in 5 different countries before the victim even knows they've been scammed. Then you've got the anonymity from fake IDs, the legal nightmares when money crosses borders, and the sheer volume of accounts in just one case. It all adds up to this frantic race against time. Any little delay could mean that money is gone for good. So, with all these challenges, you might be asking, why even bother? Why go through all this trouble? Well, let's talk about why the trail matters and the much broader impact this work has on all of us. You see, it's not just about getting the money back, although, of course, that's a huge piece of the puzzle. It's just as much about getting some kind of justice for the victims, and this is crucial. It's about dismantling the entire criminal network. Every single trail account they uncover is another piece that helps them take down the whole operation. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? This whole thing isn't just some cat and mouse game over a few $1,000s. It is about protecting the very architecture of our digital economy. It's about making sure there are real consequences for people who exploit it, and, ultimately, restoring our trust in the systems we all have to use every single day. And all of this leaves us with a pretty big question for the future. We're moving toward a world of instant, borderless money. So as finance moves at the speed of light, can our systems of justice even hope to keep up? That's a challenge we're all going to be facing. Thanks so much for digging into this with me.